Okay, guys, we're back on the D4. Had to go buy a new die grinder. My die grinder quit on me. I got some flapper wheels, and here's the die grinder. Here's some emery cloth. So somebody sent me an Amazon package, and I'll show you what they are. There's two of these. There's a blue one and a yellow one. And I looked on the tag, and the Amazon it just told you what the contents of the package were, but it didn't tell you who sent it. So, I mean, this is really, really nice light. It's got magnets all along here. It's got two on the bottom. Really nice. And then we have two more lights. These are identical, these two here, but pretty neat, huh? Yeah. That's pretty cool. Anyway, let's get all this stuff out. We'll use one of these new lights. Maybe even two of them, huh? Okay. So, I'm getting started a little late. I had to work on an ISX Cummins up there that lost an ECM this morning. And I got him going, so I got some 2-inch flapper wheels for this. We're going to clean out the bores. These guys have been running straight water in this thing, and it's got things pretty rusted up. Now that is a magnet. That's what it should be doing. You know, you should be able to take a light, and it should hold up its own weight. That other one that I've got is a piece of shit. It don't even hold its own weight up. So, I'm going to get my new die grinder here set up. I had looked all over town, and it's all I could get for the time being. I wanted a long-barreled die grinder is what I was looking for, but nobody seemed to have one anywhere. There's the other wrench. Gotta get me some air tool oil. Oops, that's a pretty nice little die grinder, though. Yeah, I like ye. So, alright guys, I'm going to get this set up. We're going to start cleaning this block up. Now, I'm not going to show you the cleanup. I mean, that's pretty boring, but we start putting liners and stuff back in it, and we'll be back with you. Okay, we got a new liner here. Got some Dawn dish soap. We got this seal here. Goes up against the counterbore ledge. So let's get some Dawn dish soap and get it wet. Slickums. Wonder if it'd be easier to go like this, or is it going to stretch it out too much, or don't know. Okay. That'll work like that. Maybe I'll put a little bit more on there. We'll make sure that we lube up the axle, and all these O-rings are the same. Whereas John Deere, they'll put like a black one and a green one and an orange one, and these are all the same. Yeah. Just going down to the bottom groove if I can. Maybe I'll go down to the second groove. So let's take some dish soap. We're going to lube up the counterbore where that one seal sets, and then we're going to lube up the actual bore where the O-rings go. I had this one guy, yeah, it's been a year or so ago, but it's a ZF6 transmission, and This guy, like, called me, like, probably 5 or 6 times, and I mean, was basically wanting me to walk him through the entire transmission rebuild over the phone. And just, you know, it's okay for a 5-minute conversation or whatever, but I mean, shit like that, I just can't believe people don't have the common decency or common sense to know that I'm taking up this guy's time. He's actually working on somebody else's vehicle, you know? And they don't think about that kind of shit. They think about their problems and whatever they've got going on, and that's the only thing that goes through their mind is whatever they've got going on. Piss on everybody else and what they've got going on. I've got a problem here, you know? I don't know how hard these are going to go in. I mean, I've got them cleaned up pretty good, I know that. It appears that they're going to go in fairly tight. That's kind of what it appears. Okay, so everybody's got their own ways of doing things. I do have ring expander pliers, but they're not here. They're in the green toolbox at home, but that's okay. Oil control ring. These oil control rings are, they're not directional. Now, I did that Ford, was it the Ford? Yeah, it was that Ford 6.7, and that oil control ring said up on them. Or they had a dot on them is what they had. So the book didn't say anything about it when I was reading on that, but I just peeled a ring off another one and cleaned it up with some emery cloth, and sure as hell the dot on that oil control ring on the old piston on that Ford was facing up. But I got the piston upside down, and I'm going to put the oil control ring on first. These actually go on really nice. Most oil control rings are really flimsy. These are really nice, good, heavy oil control rings. Easy to deal with. Now, these are obviously marked pretty nice. The sacks marked 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to have a... Oh, by the way, I don't know who sent me these, but really nice. Thank you very much. Okay, so this one says up 2. So obviously it's going to go in the second groove. And it's going to be up is up. And now we've turned the piston around. Ouch. Come on now, work with me. Pop down in there. A little bit of an... There we go. She went down too far. There we go. And then, of course, number 1, and it's the same thing. It's a keystone ring, so you want it, it's directional. I'm having trouble finding the kind of hard to read. That's it right there. I found it. It is easier with the pliers, but that's one of those things. I was grabbing all my stuff this morning, and I try to keep all them specialty tools at home, and even though I use them here more, it's just this shop is a long ways away from the house, and I just always get nervous about somebody making off with all this stuff when I'm not around. So, okay. So everything that I can tool-wise, I try to take it home. it's high dollar stuff. And I took up a telescoping gauge and an outside mic and mic'd all these small end holes there, and they're all in good shape there. Okay, so I wanted to put one snap ring in. And then mix up the old snap ring with the new. Use this Leatherman old Dick gave me. I like this old one better than the newer style ones. They're putting too much crap, just like everything else. You know, they got to keep coming out with a new model, and they got to do something different every time. And so these new ones, these new Leathermans are so big and bulky. I like the old ones like this. They just seem like they're just way better to me. But a little oil on that wrist pin. Yeah, I know it says Pennzoil 520, but I got 1540 in there. Okay. I don't really use all these engines I do anymore. I just got to where I don't even buy assembly. I just use engine oil, and I don't seem to have any problems. I know, so all these guys are, oh, you got a prime. They think everything's a small block Chevy, or you're priming the, it's kind of laughable, to be honest with you. Anyway, so the reliefs on the piston, I'm just going off the old pistons, and they were facing the number on the rod. So here's the number on the rod. This is actually number 3, but the reliefs were offset on the piston, and they're facing the number on the rod. That's just what I'm going off of. I'm just putting them back together the way they came apart, basically. Rod bolt. Always make sure, double check your snap rings. Make sure they're seated, man. It sucks when one of those comes undone and starts walking out of the cylinder and eats up a brand new liner. Not good. Rod bearings. I'm not gonna lube those up till I get them ready to go in the hole. I scratched that one a little bit with my frickin' pliers. Now can't even feel it with my finger now, but it just took a little bit of that Babbitt or whatever the hell it is off of there. Coating. These suckers go in pretty tight. These trying to get them locked into the bearing tang. I just, you know, after doing that 6.7 and a couple of these other new engines with all their, you know, I'm just going to tell it like it is with their bullshit and their tangless bearings. I mean, they've just gone so cheap on all this new shit. I mean, it's just a bunch of junk. None of that shit's going to be running like this stuff will be in another 40 years. It'll all be in the scrap iron pile. Or it won't even be in the scrap iron pile because there's no metal in it. It'll all be in the melted down for plastic and making tennis shoes out of it. Makes a nice little workbench, doesn't it? Kind of go together a little bit tighter. All right. So there it is. It's just not much to it. I'll have to I'll stagger my ring gaps and everything once I get ready to put it in the hole. Okay, I'm trying to climb up here. Hang on a second. I got a ladder here, but somehow my leg got the wrong spot on it. Anyway, so you'll notice that I'm going to show you here real shortly. Get into position here. On these cat motors, the 3306s I think are pretty much the same. Well, we could find out real quick. Well, we'll go look at that here in a little bit. Anyway, you'll notice that you can't really see it, but I remember that the rod numbers were facing the intake side of the engine. But there's a mark. Let's just go ahead and slide this. What I'm going to do is go like this. But there's a mark on the block, and there'll be a mark on the piston, and they're going to face the same side. And let's see if the camera will pick that up. Here's the mark. There's one on each one. See that little V mark right there? Are you seeing that? I don't know if that's picking that up or not. Let me get a light here. Man, I sure like this son of a bitch here. Now you might be able to see that little V mark right there. And then there's a little mark on the piston right there. So basically they just kind of need to line up. So let me now get my ring compressor. My cheapo ring compressor. This cheap piece of junk probably works better than the expensive one I got. I probably should have done this on the ground over here. Alrighty, that's better. Ha! Finger getting bastard. Okay, how are we looking here? Okay, rubber mallet. See how it came up solid there? That means that the ring popped out. Well, I see what happened. Man, this wire right here is really pissing me off. Let me back this. I should have lubed up this ID of this ring compressor, and I forgot to do it. That sure helps things quite a bit. Okay, she's in the hole, rabbit. I'm gonna go underneath and pull it onto the journal. I got both of these journals at bottom dead center. Well, I'll take you with me, I guess. I'll take you with me down here. That's number 1. Let me see here. That'll set somewhere in there. Using all these fancy lights I got. Okay, there's one of them in the hole. Put the rod cap, and then those get torqued to 30 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees. I don't really look forward to doing number 4. As you can see, number 4, it's just not the easiest in the world to get to. But anyway, pretty much, you know, same song and dance, guys. You guys have seen me do a bunch of engines. I mean, it's just got money falling out of my pocket. Here, what else can we get out of there? Money that ain't worth anything anymore, thanks to the commies in charge. But it's the same thing, guys, as any other wet linered engine. You put your liners in, you know, first thing you can do is what I didn't even show, but take a liner, put it in with no O-rings, clamp it down, what I did is I had a spacer, I put them back there on top of the toolbox, the spacers and big washers, and then just some tubing I had that fit around these, and I cut them to length, and then I put a washer on there, and I just clamped a liner down on each side, then took the sled gauge and measured the protrusion. Same thing you do on pretty much every diesel engine. Okay, you know, before you put the head on, it's probably a good idea to go to number 1 top bed center. And on these cats, these 3306s and 3304s, it's really easy to tell. So right now, see how those 2 cam followers down there are, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch below the flush there of the block. And notice how these are about 1/8 of an inch, maybe. So obviously, these cam followers are at the same, almost the same height. So pretty safe to say that that is at number 1 top dead center exhaust and valve overlap. So I'm gonna go 360 degrees with the crankshaft here and get her back around. Something like that. All right. Just, I don't know, there's just things like that you learn over the years. Just, it's easier to do it now than trying to figure out where you're at later. And if you guys want some good, high quality aftermarket Caterpillar tractor engine parts, or they make CTP, Cost X tractor parts. I mean, heavy duty pros. Talk to Mo in the parts department. Very, very good, knowledgeable guy. Anyway, that's where I got this from. And it's just a really, really high quality, affordable, you know. So there's absolutely, and I have experience with these CTP parts to back it up, because I've done like, I think 331, oh, see, one was a 3116 mechanical. I did 2 3126 mechanicals and Challengers, and then I've done 2 or 3 different 3306s with CTP parts and haven't had one issue. As a matter of fact, one of the 3126 mechanicals is in a Challenger about 10 miles north, and I did that one probably, I don't know, 8 years ago. And I was just talking to the guy the other day, and I was just shooting shit with him. I said, how's that old Challenger going? He goes, I don't know, we put about 1,500, 2,000 hours a year on it. So that's a lot of hours. If that's what he's saying, at the minimum, I mean, it's probably got at least 12 or 14,000 hours since I rebuilt it on that engine. So, and they were used with aftermarket CTP parts. And I remember that one had a bad cam in it too, and we had to put a cam and cam followers in. We got all those from Cost X tractor parts. So Cat wanted $9,470 for the cylinder head, which we got from Cost X tractor parts right here. So we got the cylinder head, full gasket set. I mean, we're not going to be using this rear main and stuff on this one. But I'm going to use the rear main on that one over there. that I've got the clutch out of. But anyway, we got that, all the piston packs. So Cat wanted $9,470 for the head, the piston packs, and the gasket set for a 3304. I mean, you talk about ridiculous. So we got all this from heavydutypros.com. We got all this for $2,596. So, pretty good deal. Well, looky there. I don't have to pull the pre-combustion chambers out of that other one. They're already in there. That is pretty snazzy, man. But I will have to put the glow plugs in there. Which, that is no big deal. I'll have to pull the glow plugs out and put them in there. That is nice. I'm glad I don't have to... Because my wife just messaged me, she said, hey, your tool finally showed up. I bought one of those pre-combustion chamber tools that threads down in here, and it just now showed up. I mean, it's amazing to me how this cylinder head and all this stuff got shipped clear across the country, and within, what, 2 or 3 days, and we didn't even expedite it, and it showed up. But the tool is a week and a half, you know, to get here for a tool that big. Whatever. Okay, so they want you to start. Let's see, are they looking at the intake side or the exhaust side here? Okay, so 1 and 2 in the middle. These are the small bolts out here. So basically you just start in the middle. You go all the way down the middle. The ones on the outside edge, you do. So you're going to start 1 and 2, then you're going to go 3, 4, just going corner to corner, crossways. Okay, so start out with number 1, 115, so then 175 2 times, and then 22 foot-pounds on the 3/8 bolts, which I didn't put in there yet, but okay. So 115 foot-pounds in numerical sequence. Here over there, 115. That's 120. Let's go to 115. Alrighty. Okay, let me put the old camera at. Maybe something like that, maybe. Okay, we'll say this is number 1. Which actually, if you're looking at the book, you're looking at it from the other side, but it doesn't really matter. So then you're gonna basically, you're doing the ones kind of in this middle row here. You're gonna kind of have a middle row here, then an outside row, if that makes any sense. Then just go corner to, you know, crossways in the middle row. Come on now, let go of it. There's that one. Okay. Then you're gonna come down here. We'll come back over here. I'm trying to get comfortable here. It's the name of the game, try to get comfortable. It's like one of the most important things I ever learned when you're doing a lot of welding with anything, any of the mechanic and welding. I think the #1 rule of thumb is get comfortable. I'll tell you what, it makes your life a lot easier. Especially at the end of the day. Okay, now we're going to start on the outside row. So just pick a bolt. I mean, pick a bolt towards the center, I guess I would say, but yeah, so it's squeezing down a little bit. I ran all these down with an impact. I've been trying to catch up on old Curtis's videos here lately, and I've been watching a lot of old Isaac there at IC Wells. He seems like a pretty good dude too. Picked up some learned a few things from both those guys, watching them. All of them. I mean, even, you know, Greg over there at On Fire Welding, I've learned quite a bit watching him. Old Wayne there at Old Two-Stroker about some of that Detroit stuff that I wasn't very familiar with. He works on a lot of them old Detroits and pretty sharp. The way the damn country's going, we might be running them old Detroits again. You know what? When there's no manufacturing or nothing else going on, and nobody can get parts for any of this new junk because everybody's bankrupt. Maybe there'll be guys out there with lathes and building parts and shit for them. You never know, man. You never know. My torque wrench just quit me here. Okay, just like Cat seems like they've done for 100 years. 15, 25, 15 on the intake, 25 on the exhaust. We'll do number 1 intake and exhaust valve first. So the long rocker is the exhaust and the short rocker is the intake. It's pretty easy. If you can't figure it out, just look at your exhaust ports and see where they line up, which valve they line up with. And that pretty well solves that issue. So 15 on this here, yeah. Pretty good, huh? I'm trying to remember. Let me double check. I think it's 1 and 2 intake. And then 1 and 3 exhaust, I think. Remember, right? Yep. So yes, intakes 1 and 2, exhaust 1 and 3, and then rotate it 360 degrees and do the rest of them. You know what I just did? Dumb bastard. I just set that to 15 instead of 25. That weren't too smart. I'm sure somebody will tell me about it. It's like all the moron. Hey, you're gonna have to replace that starter now. Oh, shut the hell up, dummy. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I've cranked on them a lot longer than that. That 7.3 I was cranking on. Ah, you're gonna have to replace that starter now. Number 3. People are so full of shit. Like my buddy always says, like you know shit. That thing kind of loosened up once a little slop in the threads happens on these things after years and years of running and valve adjustments. Still a little bit looser than what I would like to see. Okay, I'm gonna snug it up pretty good and then. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm happy. Now let's do the intakes. Yeah, I'm fixing to make my last payment on my daughter's college. I've basically, she hasn't had to shell out one dime of her own. I have paid for everything. Paid for her apartment, paid for her new car, paid for her cell phone, paid for her car insurance, paid for her tuition. And everybody says, you need this and you need that. I'll tell you what I need. I need her to graduate college. That's what I need. People are always spouting off on the internet about what you need, but have no idea what kind of obligations you've got yourself into already. They have no clue about your life. You need this and you need that, and cost me about 14 grand every 2 months, about 7 grand a month to keep her up there in that school, in that vet school. Crazy, isn't it? Okay, this rotator 360 degrees. Okay, how am I gonna? Well, I'll just look at the connecting rods. I heard a push rod go chingle chingle. It's like, what the hell's that all about? What come out of a rocker or something, or what happened? Yeah, one of them came out. It's too loose. Didn't I just adjust that? No, I didn't. Okay. I thought, didn't I just adjust that? Nope, I didn't. I did not. It's pretty self-explanatory now. I mean, anyone that hasn't been adjusted, adjust it. Make sure you're not putting the intake setting on the intake feeler gauge on the exhaust. For the amount of money that I spend on sending her up to college, yeah, I could buy a brand new fancy service truck. Top of the line. For $7 grand a month, hell yeah. I could buy a nice son of a bitch, man. Have all kinds of tools and nice stuff. No, instead I'm giving my money to a bunch of left-wing libtard professors that hate me. So, but my daughter, she's doing really well at what she's doing up there. So, that being said, and my daughter's not one of those that's going to go up there and get brainwashed either. I never had to worry about that either with her. She's always complaining about them people up there in college, though. Okay. She always says, she calls me and my daughter talk quite often. Pretty close with my daughter. She's always calling me and telling me, Dad, you're so right about these people. I mean, you've got them nailed 100%. I said, well, it ain't hard to figure them out. Useful idiots. Okay. Okay. This one here. That should be it. And I'll see if I can find me a valve cover gasket and put a valve cover gasket on it. Sure beats working on a PACCAR. Okay. Just you know, when you're doing this stuff, you're human. Double check stuff. That's all I can tell you is go in there and look down your holes if you can see them very, you know, I've on ones that I couldn't really see very well and I was, you know, just skeptical of, you know, something, just checking everything. I've even taken a borescope and put down the push rod holes to make sure that push rods were lined up where they were supposed to be. So, okay, well, I'm gonna clean the valve cover up, find a valve cover gasket in the kit over there, and put the valve cover on it.